Gypsy. I had to make this video because Gypsy Rose is a Chomo, a PDF. And if you don't believe me, let me prove it. When Gypsy Rose Blanchard was arrested for unaliving her mom, there was an incident report that the police made. This incident report is about the videos that she recorded for the autistic man that was collecting a permanent disability check with a low IQ, that she was making those videos for him, okay? Now, if you look closely in the highlighted area, she was to lose her V to her father when she became of age, because he is the master of the house. She also said she was willing to sell herself to strangers, okay? Look through this. And that was Demona. Do y'all remember Demona? Because I have a video of that, and someone's interpreting it, so let's look at that. This is a lip reading expert, and her name is Nina. Let's watch it.
So perfect. What I was going to say, what I wanted to ask is, are you a psychopath? Because if you are one, then it's very good.
Nina did say that it's not 100%, but based off of what she saw, that was what she said. But I feel like what she's saying lines up with what her lips are saying. So, and we know Gypsy, we've seen the dialogue, including that incident report. So that is my tidbit to show you guys that that girl is, you don't know nasty. You do them things you think. And a minor.
It's a huge, I don't think that her chances of murdering again are particularly high. I think she may have some problems in her marriage. I would anticipate that her marriage is going to be a struggle because she got married when she was in prison and she doesn't really have a strong template for healthy relationships. I mean, it's a huge flag to me that she did get married in prison. This is someone who's always defined herself in relationship to someone else. That goes with the dependency. This is someone who cannot be alone. This is someone who needs others for validations. So in that sense, it doesn't surprise me that she's obsessed with finding a relationship in prison. She was engaged in 2019 to somebody named Ken, and he broke it off. Like, she cannot exist without being in a relationship. And that, if nothing else, I would say to somebody like this, look, just step back a little bit. Take some time to be alone and figure out
you hit the nail on the head.
What you want with.
This was one of the things I had mentioned to you guys before. She's very codependent, and codependency is not good at all. You want to be whole when you get into a relationship. Otherwise, you leave yourself open to be a target. Because she has been used to being controlled, and pretty much that was her whole life. Coming out of prison and not being a whole person yet, because she hasn't gotten a chance to experience that, it leaves her up to being in the same predicament again. Although like I said, I don't know if I think she'd reoffend, but I would hope not. But I think had she had stayed single for some time and got to know herself and learn more about herself, things would be very different, and a lot of people wouldn't feel this way. But due to the nature of the situation, I think he is very accurate. She really needed time to learn herself. And I think that her husband, he seems like he has anger issues. His reactions to things don't seem healthy to me at all. What are your thoughts? Casey Anthony gets called out by Gypsy Rose, and y'all gotta see it because it's hilarious.
Casey Anthony has a new song where she's charging people to give them legal advice. Even though she's not a lawyer, do you think that's a good thing? What do you think about that?
Pot
Are
me
you
kettle.
still working with Kim Kardashian on prison reform?
I haven't spoken since the show, but it was great to meet her.
So are you is still a go to work with her?
It was wonderful to talk to her.
Kim Kardashian don't want nothing to do with Gypsy Rose Blanchard at all, whatsoever. Gypsy said that Casey Anthony shouldn't be given legal advice, and she looked like it was absolutely crazy. Pot me kettle. That's like you giving the Menendez brothers advice to seek therapy when they've been having more therapy inside prison than you've ever had. When you denied therapy after you had your mom murdered, or you murdered her rather. Like, are you reading the room? Are you understanding the assignment? Also, you tried to say other people were PDFs when you offered your daughter up to Nicholas GODEJOHN, or your future daughter up to Nicholas GODEJOHN, and said that he would be the master of the house, so he would have to take her V. Yeah, that police report. That video that you made. Gypsy, pot, meat, kettle. Y'all both should be off the internet. Y'all both are a menace to society.
Rainy day in South Carolina. Tupac is in the news, as crazy as it seems, and of course it has a Diddy tie-in. Not to get into the sensational nature of the Diddy Tupac, because I think it has some very interesting legal wranglings. First, Dwayne Keefe Davis is about to go on trial in Las Vegas for the murder of Tupac. Dwayne Keefe Davis, supposedly the theory is that Dwayne Keefe Davis was in a car with his nephew, some relation, Orlando Anderson, and apparently Orlando Anderson and Tupac got in a fight during the Mike Tyson fight in the late 90s, and as a result, Orlando Anderson shot him. So, neither here nor there, but since that time, there's been a bunch of really interesting legal wranglings. One of the arguments that Dwayne Keefe Davis is making is that basically he was a snitch. And he was a snitch for the federal government, and he gave a proffer. What is a proffer? When you're in trouble with the federal government, what you can do is you can go sit down with them and you can say, look, I'm going to tell you everything about me and everything about everybody else. And the government will say, sure, we'll listen. And if you tell us shit we don't know about, we won't use it against you. But the stuff we already know, we're going to use it anyway. That's basically a proffer. A proffer gives you that one free bite at the apple to help get your sentence and time reduced. So Dwayne Keefe Davis says, I sat down with the federal government and I told them about the Tupac shooting. I told them about a bunch of other stuff, and y'all should not be allowed to prosecute me. If this sounds familiar, this is the same reason Bill Cosby got his case thrown out. Remember, Bill Cosby said that he had sat down with prosecutors quite some time ago, gave them a proffer, and in sitting down and giving the proffer, they said, we're not going to use a lot of this information against you. And they ended up doing it, and he got his conviction reversed. That's the same argument that Dwayne Keefe Davis is making, that I sat down with the federal government, I gave them information, I told them about stuff, including Diddy, and saying all these other people are involved, and you're trying to use it against me. The state of Nevada said, that was federal. That's not us. You made an agreement with other people, not us. And most importantly, your ass can't shut the fuck up. They've said for the last 20-something years, you've gone on every podcast, every radio interview, and you continue to talk. So if there was a proffer, which there wasn't one with us, you have violated it because you won't shut the hell up. And here's the other thing about proffers. If we believe you've lied or found out you have lied when you've cooperated with the government, then the entire proffer gets thrown out. And everything you've said can be used against you. But long and short, they said, we do not believe you. Number two, that's very interesting. From Diddy's former manager who sued his mother, Kirk Burroughs, in the lawsuit, he has said Diddy had something with the killing of Tupac. Former bodyguards have said Diddy has something to do with the killing of Tupac. Dwayne Keefe Davis has said Diddy has had something to do with the killing of Tupac. So the question is, well, can they prosecute him? There is no statute of limitation on murder. Murder is it. Murder is the biggest crime we've got. So there's always an avenue of wanting to solve murders. So it doesn't matter when it happens. They could always go after him if they had evidence that he was directly related into it. Why is this interesting? Because some people are asking, well, why aren't they prosecuting him for the beatdown of Cassie that he did? Well, in California, where the beatdown occurred, there's a statute of limitations on crimes other than murder of 3 years. So murder, prosecute forever. Ass whoopings, So those are unique situations that they're bringing Diddy's involvement in these cases, that they're saying that Diddy has some type of involvement, and if they wanted, realistically, they could charge him. And finally, what I also think is fascinating, and this is a lot of states, and this might also be Nevada, at trial, will Dwayne Keefe Davis be allowed to say, I didn't do it, Diddy's ass did it? Well, in South Carolina, we have something called third-party guilt. Third-party guilt basically means you cannot just randomly point the finger at other people and say, look, it wasn't me, it was probably that one. What you have to be able to do, and the law says this really fancy phrase, it must be inextricably intertwined to the proof of guilt of the other party. The fuck does that mean? Basically, it means your proof of being allowed to bring in Diddy has to be so strong that he did it. Given all the witnesses who are potentially testifying that Diddy's ass might have been hiding in trunks and doing all that other stuff, there is potential evidence that he might have did it. And finally, Dwayne Keefe Davis has also made an additional argument, which I think is strong. We've used it ourselves, that this case should be time barred because potential witnesses don't exist. Y'all have waited entirely too long to bring this case. We have used this argument before, and it works because it's true. The Constitution requires you to bring cases as quickly as possible because ideas are fresh. A lot of people in this case, the actual shooter is dead. So if I'm Dwayne Keefe Davis, it's like, how can I present a full defense if we don't have the witnesses that we can possibly bring for it? They are all dead. So, going to be interesting. I think there's a lot of interesting legal arguments. What's that song? They shooting. Made you look.